How's it going, everyone? I want to welcome you to another episode of Dude I Love or Hate My New Ride Home Edition. We've been covering a lot of high mileage trucks because we want to figure out what are the toughest, most reliable things that are out there on the road. And today we have 3 vehicles that will illustrate that perfectly, and that includes a Ford F-350 that's gone over 370,000 miles, a Chevy Express that's gone over 448,000 miles, and finally, a Ford F-150 that has done more than 500,000 miles. But to start, let's get a look at Jeff's 2003 Ford F-350.
Okay, TFL, this is my truck, 2003 F-350, 7.3, it's a Lariat, pretty much stock. Bumper from Dakota Hills Bumper, Jamestown, North Dakota, all aluminum. Did not have the red pinstripe. We had that when it was pretty new. And then a few years ago, I'm from the Midwest, Indiana, Rust Belt. Vehicles like this, the rust eats them up. So a few years ago, we put a new takeoff bed, 2 new front doors, all 4 rocker panels, cab corners, add the ultra black wheels. Well, just a few years ago, like those, they've kind of added to it. The old 7.3 has been pretty dependable. I don't know if you can read it. Almost 372,000 miles. Interior is original. It's not been touched at all. Little sign for wear. It's been pretty dependable over all the years. The valve cover's never been off of it. As you saw, it's an automatic. It's never been out of it. It's been serviced. Oil's changed regular. I do it every 5,000 miles. Almost every oil change. Gets Rotella T 1540. And I usually almost all the time, put a quart of the Lucas synthetic oil stabilizer. We've had the starters, alternator, brakes, all the normal deal. Probably everything on the front end's been replaced as far as tie rods. I put center link and 1 tie rod's the last piece last summer on the truck that had never been replaced. Ball joints have been replaced. These little 7.3s are kind of loud. Sound like a diesel should. But like I said, it's been very dependable. We bought this and just never had a reason to trade it in. I never got out of the truck and said, wow, I wish I had a different truck. But I'm going to sign off right now. Like I said, my name's Jeff. I'm getting ready to start a YouTube channel called General Nation. Sign off. See ya.
Thanks for sending in your truck, Jeff. You know, I have to say, this generation of Super Duty truck has always been one of my favorites. I think it's among the best looking trucks that Ford has ever made. And on top of that, you've got the 7.3 Power Stroke, which is also one of the best power plants that Ford has ever made. You combine that with this cool color combo, 2-tone, dually, big tires. It's a great looking machine, and I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Thanks for sending it in. Next up, let's take a look at this 2007 Chevy Express that was sent in by a viewer named Michael.
Hello, TFL home edition of Dude I Love or Hate My New Ride. This is Michael in Greenwood, Mississippi. I've had this one since new in 07. The reason I think that this video deserves attention is that this is the highest mileage vehicle that I know of. I've not seen one on Home Edition with this high miles. This van has 448,000 miles. I've had them with even more than that. I've had them with up to 554,000 and 556,000. But this one, this is my last day with it at 448,000 miles. In the morning, a new one just like it, but 2019 and no miles is being delivered between 7 and 8:30. So this is it. This is the last hurrah for this old van. It's been pretty dependable, pretty reliable through all the years and all the miles. The drawback to these really is the paint. The paint just won't stay on, the paint falls off. So I get a new one in the morning with paint on it. Yesterday I sent a video of my last day with a 458,000 mile Chevy Express van. Today is the first day with the new one. It's a 4.3 V6. And I hadn't really thought much about those since about an 88 S10 Blazer or 92 GM Sierra work truck package or something like that. It's been a while since I've even seen that engine. Most of these lately have been like the 4.8 or 5.3 or something like that. But this one has the 4.3 and an 8-speed automatic. Why in the world do you need a leather steering wheel in a work truck with vinyl seats and a rubber floor mat? If the interior is pretty similar to the 07, I thought it odd too to even have a rear view mirror when it has no windows on the back and a solid wall behind the driver's seat. So I've always thought it is odd that cargo vans or box trucks even had a rear view mirror, because you're not going to see anything but the wall 3 foot behind it. Looks pretty much like the one that was parked there yesterday with 458,000 miles on it. Doesn't really drive a lot different. These things have a few maintenance issues that are kind of odd. You replace wheel bearings on these things more often on the front, more often than you do other vehicles, it seems. It's like every 70, 80,000 miles, it seems like the wheel bearings are going on these. Another little odd thing, when you lose oil pressure and think your motor's blowing, it's not at all. There's nothing wrong. There's a pickup, an oil pickup tube that's in the bottom of that oil pan that makes the gauge work, makes the pressure. There's an O-ring on that pickup tube that goes bad, so you think you got a bad blown motor, and there's nothing more wrong than a $1.50 O-ring on that pickup tube. The condition of like the door panels or the steering wheel or the dashboard or the seats, the upholstery, it's amazing that no rips or tears or anything in that amount of time, no cracks or splits. It's just kind of amazing. But the engine has been replaced and the transmission has been replaced over the years. Got little records of it right here on the sun visor. Old-timey way to keep up with it. So that, I guess this is maybe its 4th transmission actually. The first transmission was placed under warranty at 36,000 miles in 08 in Madawaska, Maine. And then we just kind of robbed transmissions out of wreck trucks. I see one came out of truck 177 in 16. When this one had 344,000 miles, and the motor at that time was an $1,800 salvage yard 5.3, and then the most recent transmission, the one in it now, was put in when this van had 398,000 miles, but that came out of a wreck truck with 245,000 miles on it. These transmissions are just, sometimes they don't last a warranty period, sometimes 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, 400,000. It's just different mileages. You just never know. Each one's a little different. So anyway, this is a 448,000 mile express van. This is last day. We'll get a new one in the morning. Talk to you later. Bye.
Well, thank you for sending in your van. 448,000 miles is an incredible feat for any vehicle, and sure, major components have had to be replaced, but part of what makes vehicles like this so tough is that these commercial style platforms are built for work, and they're built to be easy to fix. So when something does go wrong, the truck doesn't get abandoned because it's too difficult or too expensive to fix. They're cheap and easy to work on, and that's part of what makes them so great. So thanks again for sending it in, and if I have to give it a rating, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10, because even though it's not a show car, it's done an amazing amount of miles. Lastly, we have a 1997 Ford F-150 that was sent in to us by a viewer named Jacob, and it has over 500,000 miles, 500,000, which is a pretty incredible feat for any vehicle. So let's give it a look.
Hello, my name is Jacob and this is a video for TFL Truck. This is a 1997 Ford F-150 with 500,000 miles. It has the 4.6 liter engine, two-wheel drive, and it's not the typical 10th generation F-150 you see out on the road. I've switched this truck to all LED lights, so I'm able to see more at night. And during the day, I'm able to be seen instead of being at risk of being hit. Another aspect of this truck that I love is the fact that tonneau covers and other aftermarket parts do line up quite well. I bought this tonneau cover for about 30 bucks. Doesn't look like it has the mileage. I replaced my cloth seats with these Expedition Eddie Bauer seats, which I absolutely love. I paid like 50 bucks for the set with the center console. The only downside is it had this rip and tear on the side, and after 3 years it hasn't progressed anymore, so I'm lucky that I bought a good set. Another thing I've done to my truck, I've replaced my headliner with this American flag. So here's what everyone really wants to see, is the mileage. I do in fact have 500,000 miles. It hasn't left me stranded anywhere. Here are my mileage stickers from Ford, all the way from 100,000 all the way up to the nearest edition, that's 500,000. Another addition I've done to this truck is I've installed a aftermarket Apple CarPlay radio in it. The factory radio wasn't a true double din, so I've had to do some cutting behind this bezel on the top just to make a true double din radio fit. This thing, it leaks a little bit around the valve covers up here. It's gross, nasty sometimes, but for 500,000 miles, I really cannot complain about this engine, minus the fact it doesn't make much horsepower. I think it's rated at like 210 horsepower from factory, but I'm still getting 16 or 17 miles highway, but I drive conservative. I drive 5 or so miles under the speed limit. I do have an exhaust leak out the passenger side. I think I have a bad catalytic converter in between that and the resonator. I'm a firm believer in old trucks never die, they just get rebuilt. And this truck is a prime example of it. Even though I have 0 rebuilds on this truck, it's still ticking and it still drives quite nice for the mileage. I live in Midwest Ohio, and unfortunately rust is a big problem over here. My rocker panels are completely rusted through. This back third open door, I had to Bondo, and I think I used about 2 gallons of Bondo just to have a resemblance of a door. Thank you, TFL Truck, for allowing me to show your audience my 500,000 mile 97 F-150.
Thank you for sending it in. It's cool to see that you have those Eddie Bauer seats in there at such a good price too. And funky to see Apple CarPlay in that older dash. It's not something you would expect to see in a truck like that, but it is still pretty cool as well. And again, with this vehicle, it's just amazing to see how inexpensively you can repair them and how easy they are to work on. Simplicity is key if you want your machine to go on forever, and that's why American vehicles are some of the toughest things on the road, because like we've been saying throughout the video, they're simple, they're tough, and they're easy to work on. And if any of you out there disagree, please send in your imported vehicles that have high miles, because I'm sure there are some older diesel Mercedes, even some older Toyotas out there that are pushing on a similar amount of mileage, and we would love to see them. So here is Tommy to show you how to do that.
Hey, thank you for sending us your video here to TFL Studios so we can make it famous on Dude I Love My Ride Home Edition. Well, we noticed that a lot of people had some issues sending us files because emails are just not suitable for video. However, we do have a much better solution. It's a file service called WeTransfer, and WeTransfer is a way you can securely and safely and freely, we should say, send us your video files. That way the quality is better and there's no issues going down the road. So here's how you do it. If you're planning on using your cell phone to upload the files, like I think many of you will be, all you have to do is open up your browser, and this works both on Apple and Android, and type in tflstudios.wetransfer.com and then hit enter. Now it will take you to this page, and you'll see a big button that says send a file. Click that and then tap I agree, and it'll give you a plus arrow where you can actually add your files. Add up to 20 gigabytes. So click that. I'm going to say photo library, videos, and then I'm going to select my video and hit done. So there you can see your videos added. In the message section, please add your name and your truck. So in this case, it'll be Tommy Micah, and the truck or car or whatever lawnmower is 2020 Nissan Titan, just so we know what's coming our way. And then click next. And then you plug in your own personal email. And what it'll do is send you a verification just to make sure you're a real person and not a robot. And click transfer. So it says verify your email. Go ahead and check your email and you'll see a code. And then go ahead and plug in your verification code. Alright, and verify. So once you're verified, you'll see it will upload your file to the internet, and you can see it going there. And then it will send a verification that you have completed your transfer and that we have received it. Now you can actually do the same exact process on a computer. It's just as easy. Let me show you. Here on the computer, it's the same exact process. So simply type in tflstudios.wetransfer.com and hit enter. And then here you'll see a little bubble that says add your files. So click on the file you want to add. Then plug in your email address, your personal email address, and a message. Once again, your name and your vehicle. So it'll ask you to verify your email again, and then you'll be ready to go. And we'll get your files a little bit quicker. It'll be a little bit easier. Well, thank you so much for contributing. And if you have any questions, email me, ask@tfltruck.com, and we'll help you through them.
That's all for this video. As always, this is Case with the Fast Lane Car. Be sure to go back to TFL Truck, TFL Car, and TFL Off-Road for more news, views, and real-world reviews. Thanks for watching, and stay safe.